Chapter 34. Place of Christ's birth foretold. And hear what part of earth he was to be born in, as another prophet Micah foretold. He spoke thus: And thou, Bethlehem, the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah: for out of thee shall come forth a governor, who shall feed my people. Now there is a village in the land of the Jews, 35 stadia from Jerusalem, in which Jesus Christ was born, as you can ascertain also from the registers of the taxing made under Cyrenius, your first procurator in Judaea. Chapter 35. Other fulfilled prophecies. And how Christ after he was born to escape the notice of other men until he grew to man's estate, which also came to pass, hear what was foretold regarding this. There are the following predictions: Unto us a child is born, and unto us a young man is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, which is significant of the power of the cross, for to it, when he was crucified, he applied his shoulders, as shall be more clearly made out in the ensuing discourse. And again the same prophet Isaiah, being inspired by the prophetic spirit, said, I have spread out my hands to a disobedient and gainsaying people, to those who walk in a way that is not good. They now ask of me judgment, and dare to draw near to God. And again in other words, through another prophet, he says, They pierced my hands and my feet, and for my vesture they cast lots. And indeed David, the king and prophet, who uttered these things, suffered none of them. But Jesus Christ stretched forth his hands, being crucified by the Jews speaking against him, and denying that he was the Christ. And as the prophet spoke, they tormented him, and set him on the judgment seat, and said, Judge us. And the expression, they pierced my hands and my feet, was used in reference to the nails of the cross which were fixed in his hands and feet. And after he was crucified, they cast lots upon his vesture, and they that crucified him parted it among them. And that these things did happen, you can ascertain from the Acts of Pontius Pilate. And we will cite the prophetic utterances of another prophet, Zephaniah, to the effect that he was foretold expressly as to sit upon the foal of an ass and to enter Jerusalem. The words are these: Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion; shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee, lowly, and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt the foal of an ass. Chapter 36. Different modes of prophecy. But when you hear the utterances of the prophets spoken as if it were personally, you must not suppose that they are spoken by the inspired themselves, but by the divine Word who moves them. For sometimes he declares things that are to come to pass, in the manner of one who foretells the future; sometimes he speaks as from the person of God the Lord and Father of all; sometimes as from the person of Christ; sometimes as from the person of the people answering the Lord or his Father, just as you can see even in your own writers, one man being the writer of the whole, but introducing the persons who converse. And this the Jews who possessed the books of the prophets did not understand, and therefore did not recognize Christ even when he came, but even hate us who say that he has come, and who prove that, as was predicted, he was crucified by them. Chapter 37. Utterances of the Father. And that this too may be clear to you, there were spoken from the person of the Father through Isaiah the prophet the following words: The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib; but Israel does not know, and my people hath not understood. Woe, sinful nation, a people full of sins, a wicked seed, children that are transgressors, ye have forsaken the Lord. And again elsewhere, when the same prophet speaks in like manner from the person of the Father, What is the house that ye will build for me, saith the Lord? The heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. And again in another place, Your new moons and your Sabbaths my soul hateth, and the great day of the fast and of ceasing from labor I cannot away with. Nor if ye come to be seen of me will I hear you. Your hands are full of blood. And if ye bring fine flour, incense, it is an abomination to me. The fat of lambs and the blood of bulls I do not desire. For who hath required this at your hands? But loose every bond of wickedness. Tear asunder the tight knots of violent contracts. Cover the houseless, and naked deal thy bread to the hungry. What kind of things are taught through the prophets from the person of God, you can now perceive. Chapter 38. Utterances of the Son. And when the spirit of prophecy speaks from the person of Christ, the utterances are of this sort: I have spread out my hands to a disobedient and gainsaying people, to those who walk in a way that is not good. And again, I gave my back to the scourges, and my cheeks to the buffetings. I turned not away my face from the shame of spittings, and the Lord was my helper. Therefore was I not confounded, but I set my face as a firm rock, and I knew that I should not be ashamed, for he is near that justifieth me. And again, when he says, They cast lots upon my vesture, and pierced my hands and my feet. And I lay down and slept, and rose again, because the Lord sustained me. And again, when he says, They spake with their lips, they wagged the head, saying, Let him deliver himself. And that all these things happened to Christ at the hands of the Jews, you can ascertain. For when he was crucified, they did shoot out the lip, and wagged their heads, saying, Let him who raised the dead save himself. Chapter 39. Direct predictions by the Spirit. And when the spirit of prophecy speaks as predicting things that are to come to pass, he speaks in this way: For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And that it did so come to pass, we can convince you. For from Jerusalem there went out into the world men, 12 in number, and these illiterate, of no ability in speaking. But by the power of God they proclaimed to every race of men that they were sent by Christ to teach to all the word of God. And we who formerly used to murder one another do not only now refrain from making war upon our enemies, but also, that we may not lie nor deceive our examiners, willingly die, confessing Christ. For that saying, The tongue has sworn but the mind is unsworn, might be imitated by us in this matter. But if the soldiers enrolled by you, and who have taken the military oath, prefer their allegiance to their own life, and parents, and country, and all kindred, though you can offer them nothing incorruptible, it were very ridiculous if we, who earnestly long for incorruption, should not endure all things, in order to obtain what we desire from him who is able to grant it. End of Part 2.